Good evening all. Welcome to this meeting of the Climate Policy and Scrutiny Subcommittee. I'm Councillor Alan Edwards, the Chair of the Subcommittee. Please make sure the phones are switched to silent and note that the meeting is being live streamed as always. If there are technical difficulties, we will record and upload the meeting once it concludes and make it available for viewing the following day. Members, would you please introduce yourselves as we start the meeting, starting on the left?
Councillor Peter May.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Sue Brooke.
Councillor Naneem Pashi.
Thank you very much. Our item 1 is apologies. We've had apologies from Councillor Ainsley and Councillor Huntsman. Members, I have to ask, are there any interests for you to declare? None? Thank you very much. Okay, item 3 are the minutes of the meeting held on the 13th of August 2025 agreed as a correct record of our meeting? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I'll just sign them. Yeah, sorry, I had a pencil, which isn't. Don't mess your nib up. Thank you. Okay, so we move on to agenda item 4, which is our Climate Action Plan 2025. Members, we have in front of us a report from our Assistant Director for Climate and Growth, which seeks the views of the committee on the action plan for delivering climate action within the organisation and across our borough. Ms Parrott is not with us. Sorry, Grace, I'm not listening to my brief. Ms Parrott, if you could introduce the report for us.
Good evening, members. So my colleague Grace is going to deliver the details of the report for you this evening. As you'll be aware, over the course of the early part of this year, we went out to recruit for a climate action officer to enable us to deliver an action plan for Castle Point, because we didn't have that within the resources of the council. So Grace is that person and has been working really hard on getting this action plan across the line for us over the last month and a half that she's been with us. So I'll pass over to her. She's now the expert in all of these things.
Good evening. So as Amanda said, I am in this capacity supporting with the Climate Action Plan. The plan itself is a direct response to the Council's ambition to having a cleaner and greener environment for obviously residents and also the Council, the Borough as a whole. The plan itself has been relating to addressing specific issues that have come up in regards to how we ensure that we protect the environment and also support local people, local residents who intend to take climate action. So one of the things that we are intending to do, as you would have seen from the climate action, from the report and also the plan, is that we have included the impacts, financial impact specifically, that taking specific action will enable. So for example, we intend to, as a council, we intend to support projects on decarbonisation and reducing our emissions. So ensuring that our buildings are fit for purpose, they are energy efficient. So some of the things that we intend to do would be around ensuring that we can install solar panels on some of our buildings, also ensuring that the lighting that we have in our buildings are also energy efficient as well. We also intend to work with local partners, local communities, to engage them in taking climate action. At the moment, we know that many people within the borough do care about the environment, they care about protecting nature, ensuring that biodiversity is protected, that sort of thing. So we intend to engage with local people through various means to ensure that they are able to take adequate climate action, and also supporting any plans that they have over the course of the next 3 years to ensure that they can obviously protect the environment. Also, in regards to our waste and recycling, there will be specific actions that we will be taking. For example, using hydro-treated vegetable oil in our fleet. Again, it burns much cleaner, which means that carbon emissions within the borough will be reduced, but also we will be able to ensure that we are also having a financial cost savings as well. So within the report and also the climate action plan, there are various activities and projects that will be kicking off within the next few years to ensure that not only do we reduce our carbon emissions as a council and as a borough, but also that local people and residents are supported to take climate action and they can see a positive change within nature and the environment for themselves. Thank you.
Members, are there any questions on the report? Obviously, we've been working our way through this plan over a series of meetings, but if you've got additional questions now.
Thank
Councillor
you
May.
for that. I've brought this up before, and I've got to say, I get a lot of residents keep throwing this at me as well, and they keep on about the solar panels, and they saying about, all right, putting them in the fields and open spaces is taking away the green area. So why can't we bring in a plan where all new builds have got part of the plan to build new places, solar panels have gone on the roofs, and also you can get the solar windows, can't you, as well? So could we get that brought in? And also I just thought, yeah, we keep hearing about government giving out grants and that. I was just wondering if we could apply for grants to get solar panels put on our council houses to start off with.
If I can pass over to you.
Yep, so the solar panels on new build houses is included within the Castle Point plan. So that will progress through its process in due course. In terms of government grants for warmer homes, it's called Warm Homes Funding, and that's included under the Assistant Director for Housing's actions within the action plan that you have before you this evening.
Thank you. Councillor Brooke, you had a question for us.
As you know, Val, you've just joined this committee halfway through, so there's a little bit I'm not sure on. On the draft plan, page 12, there's the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. I wonder, I know I can understand the schools and education that way. What about it's got in there types of business, and what likely are they to benefit from it, and how? Thank you.
I'm so sorry. What page were you looking at? Page 12. Okay, so you're asking about how local communities will be benefiting from that fund? So at the moment, I believe that we are one of the actions that we're taking is an engagement through art partnership that we have with a local group. So that partnership effectively is how we intend to go out to local people, engage residents through using the medium of art to ensuring that they are able to take climate action. So that will be the main, and that program, I believe, will be running up until March 2026. I believe we've got funding for that. And that is the initial way that we intend to involve local climate action, local people in taking climate action. That will be the main way.
Can you pop your mic on?
I thought I read somewhere it was for youth. Yeah, I get this, and for local business.
So if I can refer you to page 10 of the action plan, there's actions that are specifically related to businesses on that page. And in fact, on page 9 as well.
give everybody a second to just check on that. Are there any other questions resulting from those? Okay.
Sorry. On that, on page 9, it says about cycling and walking. And I'll be truthful with you, I wouldn't have none of my grandchildren cycling at the present time because the roads are so busy and we haven't got cycle lanes, you know. So I think that would be a good thing for us to start looking at how we could get more cycle lanes put in so we do encourage, you know, youngsters and older people like myself to get on bikes, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, in relation to cycle lanes, we are working with Essex County Council to kind of get an idea of where cycle lanes are within the borough. Castle Point obviously included. So within the county of Essex, Castle Point also included, and where there are sort of bike parking spaces, that sort of thing, and if there is any kind of room to add a few more. So we are working very closely with our colleagues at Essex County Council to ensure that there is the infrastructure there to support people who do want to, like you say, cycle or take other means of transport that are more environmentally friendly.
If I can just follow up from the chair on that, I mean, we're pretty space constrained in Castle Point, so adding cycle lanes would pose a challenge. In the discussions that you're having with Essex, have you had any conversations about the state of the roads? Because there are areas where we've got significant degradation of the road surfaces, leaving gravel across the road and potholes, damaged drain covers, etc., which are a real hazard to cyclists. So if I can ask you to raise those, because they are a real barrier to confident cycling, irrespective of traffic. And the recent changes to the highway code, etc., etc. You know, just the physical infrastructure is degrading, and we need it maintained in order to keep our cycling numbers up.
So just coming back on the level of traffic perspective and then the lack of space, it does make it challenging for cycle lanes in many cases. But actually, we've got many side roads in Castle Point, and there are ways that you can get around the borough using those quieter roads if they were to be properly marked out and properly signposted as well. So part of the work that needs to happen is exploring those sort of alternative off the main routes, because it probably does increase the opportunities, but it does need that wayfinding, and it does need some degree of management around parking and so forth to make sure that they are still safe to use in that way, because certainly in some places on-street parking is so significant that it means it isn't necessarily safe. So
that at least sounds like a sensible, smart way to explore solving the problem. I like it. Members, are there any other questions from the floor? I've been in discussion with the local Castle Point Climate Action Group, and one question that they raised, which we've not covered quite as explicitly as maybe we could, is around encouraging the consumption of plant-based food and easy swaps. And I just wondered if you could highlight where in the plan we've got any aspect of that, or where you could see some opportunities for us to introduce that.
So obviously plant-based foods, whilst having the potential to achieve very large carbon savings, because quite high levels of carbon dioxide and equivalents result from farming and sort of cattle farming and sheep farming in particular. It's obviously a matter of choice as to what people choose to consume or not. So I think what you can do is look around the education piece that we have under the Assistant Director for People and Engagement, and see whether we can start to draw out some of that messaging as part of that element of the work, in terms of engaging with people around those choices that are available to them.
I would also say as well, because the engagement through art project is it's a community resident engagement type of project. That's also potentially a space where the conversation around eating more sustainably plant-based foods or eating more in season can be brought up, because local people, when they're engaging with climate change, usually obviously they care about nature and protecting the environment, but that also goes into how they live their lives as well and the decisions that they make. So I think that will probably be the best route into supporting people to make more sustainable choices when it comes to their food. It's part of a choice that they choose to do, as opposed to something that the council is imposing on them. So I think that project is probably the best route to go down.
Okay, I mean, committee, would you support asking for us to, encourage the promotion of plant-based foods? Because I mean, a small change, even eating a few more plant-based foods a week makes a massive difference. But I wouldn't be comfortable compelling it. Not that we'd have any power to do so anyway. So could we look at just amending lightly to specifically include that in mentions of education and wherever there's an opportunity in other programmes? Thank you. Councillor May.
I agree with that, and I think what a good thing would be to that is, like, when we go into the schools, like, start giving the information out to our next generation. You know, I believe that would be a win-win.
Disagree with that. Yeah. Okay. Councillors, are there any other questions? Because I think we've done fairly extensive work on this. So.
Yeah. The only thing I've got, there's a thing in here on item 20 on the street lighting. But if I'm correct, we've already done that, haven't we? All the street lights now are solar lighting.
I don't think we've got solar lighting. I think the majority of the borough's on LEDs, but I believe the reference here is to council-owned street lights as opposed to the ones operated by Essex County Highways, but maybe you can guide us on that.
Yeah, so it'd be any lights that are in or around our car parks, maybe on paths through open spaces and so forth, out here even. So it's those lights, and I don't think that they have been swapped yet. So
I personally would like to see the highways ones on some sort of motion detection, but apparently that's some way in the future. Okay, members, if there are no other questions, it falls to me to move that the recommendation number 1, that we adopt the climate action plan as set out in Appendix 1. That will include the addition of clearer mentions of plant-based foods, as we agreed in the clarifications we covered earlier. That given, do I have a seconder for that? Okay, yes, please. Councillor Brooke, thank you very much. So, members, is that agreed that we adopt the climate action plan as set out in this appendix? Agreed? Great, thank you very much. Members, that actually concludes our business.
No, we need to move the recommendation 2
sorry.
to 4 as well.
Apologies, I'm skipping. So I need to move the recommendations 2 to 4 on the report, which I'll bring up in front of me because I was skipping. And that is to agree in principle, and this is the important bit, to agree in principle that we allocate £545,000 from the carbon reduction budget that's earmarked in reserve, is allocated to the identified projects in this climate action plan, and that final budgetary approvals for those are made for each individual project after appropriate governance policies, and that number 3, to ask the Scrutiny Subcommittee to review and monitor this plan every 6 months and report back to Cabinet on progress, and finally to ask the this committee to integrate the outcomes of the residents' engagement and local government reorganisation consultations into our review of the plan as appropriate in the future. And I need a seconder for that, please. Councillor Petchy, thank you very much. And are we in favour of that? Yeah. Yes, agreed. Okay, thank you very much. Now, that does actually conclude our business for this evening. Apologies for skipping ahead there. I thank you for your attendance, and the meeting is closed at 7:20. Thank you very much.